Hey guys, what's up? It's Dennis from Deniz, World of Bodybuilding. Today I have the special pleasure to interview a guy from the golden era of bodybuilding, a true old school bodybuilder, Ben Wellen. And
Yes.
it's so cool to have you today, Ben. It was very easy to get an appointment with you. I'm happy to have you here today. And for all the fans and viewers watching, I wanted to ask you like the first question, a brief introduction of yourself, like very short sentences, maybe like your milestones in bodybuilding, and especially like which era of bodybuilding did you compete at? Like what was the peak era that you competed in for people that don't know it?
Oh, okay. Obviously, okay. We're gonna start. We're gonna start a little bit on the beginning. Okay, so I won the junior nationals in Germany. Back in the day, it was called Mr. Germany, and then I won the men's nationals in Germany. That was in the 80s, early 80s, 80, 81, 85. I won that. Then I won the European Championship, and went to several world championship. I didn't win back then, even though I should have, but that everybody says that. Um, Later, I made overall 6 comebacks, which is completely crazy. I had my last comeback actually this year. I still compete. I'm 61 now, and over all this period of time, over decades, uh, I won several world championship. I won the Mr. Universe. I won the Mr. America, what was very special to me in 2004. So in every decade I competed. I started competing in the 70s, actually, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010s, and 2020. So in every decade I was competing, and I won also 6 times Mr. Mexico by now, I think, something like that. And yeah, all these things, all on an amateur level, of course. Yes, I do have 4 different pro cards, but I never competed as a pro. I almost competed at the Master Olympia in 2003, but then decided different.
Mhm.
So yes, I had the best times in the 80s, because in the 80s, as an amateur bodybuilder, you made the most money. That was actually the most fun time too, because everybody was crazy about bodybuilding. That was definitely the 80s. So
Okay, so basically like you competed in every era of bodybuilding, but
yes,
your peak was in the 80s and that was like your
uh,
heydays, basically. Yeah.
every decade, yes. Crazy.
And so I wanted to ask you, like nowadays, obviously you probably still you watch the bodybuilding scene, and
Yeah.
nowadays we have the classic physique division.
Hmm.
Would you say the classic physique division of today is
Hmm.
comparable with the 80s bodybuilding? Like, is it like 80s bodybuilding with better condition, or are they more or less massive? Would you compare it like the bodybuilders of?
Partially, you can for sure. Um, I mean, yes, they have more condition, a little different. I mean, in the 80s, the bodybuilders, especially at the Mr. Olympia level, they were really, really ripped and striated. Um, that's one thing you don't see so much anymore, especially in the open class. But in classic physique, yes, you see it. But when you take people, who can you take from the classic physique? You would take like Bob Paris, or you would take
Mhm,
Sean Ray, or
mhm.
maybe even Flax Wheeler, and you would put them all in there, or Lee Priest, or whatever. And I think they still would win that category, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, nothing against Chris Bumstead. Yes, he's a great bodybuilder, no question about it. But I think these guys back in the day would still beat him today, you know, like that. But that's my
Mhm.
opinion.
So you say like the 80s and 90s bodybuilders would
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes, in
Okay.
2000s, yes.
Would you say they are more massive now, the classic physique guys, or would you say like the 80s bodybuilder were also already at that level of muscle size?
Oh yeah, there were. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Don't get me wrong. Yes, definitely. I mean, Sean Ray, he was actually pretty light, you know, but he
Hmm.
looked huge. And if you have seen Sean Ray in person or on stage, wow. I mean, his striations and everything, or Flex Wheeler, wow. You don't have that. They would beat Chris Bumstead in a heartbeat. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And because you're from Germany, I wanted to ask you. You have an interview with Urs Kalecinsky,
Yes.
and I wanted
Funny
to
one.
ask you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wanted to ask you because he's very young and he did his debut at Olympia last year. He got fourth place, like with
Yeah.
his Olympia debut, which is crazy. Do you think Urs has a Mr. Olympia potential in the classic physique? And if yes, when do you think is he ready to win the title? Do you have any opinion on this?
Oh, it's very easy to answer. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely, Urs can win the Mr. Olympia in the classic physique. No doubt in my mind, because he has everything what you need. He has the genetic, he has the determination. He's 100% professional, even though now he just turned 24, I think. Even though
Hmm.
he's still really, really young, but he has a mindset of a much older person, and he's really focused, and he's a smart guy. He's not dumb, and he knows exactly what he needs to do, and he does everything. He cater his whole life to that goal. And I think if you like that and you have the genetics, nothing can stop him to win the Mr. Olympia. If it will happen this year, next year, in 2 years, in 3 years, I don't know. I can say that. You know how it is. Everything can
Hmm.
change. But I am certain that he will win the classic Mr. Olympia 100%, probably several times. Yes.
Yeah, this is the next question because I saw like a video with him and Marcus Rule, and Marcus Rule already wants him to go to the Open. He wants to have like the massive Urs. What do you say? Like, would you advise Urs to do the men's open, or would you say, Urs, you have the potential to be a Mr. Olympia in the classic physique? Just get that and get a legend in the classic physique and win many titles. What would you advise him? Or what's your opinion?
My opinion is he should do whatever he feels the most comfortable with. It's very simple. If he thinks that the classic physique is his finish line and he can bring his best package to the classic physique stage, then stay in the classic physique. When he has the feeling at one point in the future that he outgrows the classic physique, well, move on. I'm pretty sure at that time he has 2 or 3 titles already in his pocket. And why not? Move on, go up, try the open if that's what you want. But like I said, if you don't feel comfortable in the class where you have to compete in, you're not going to do anything. So we will see. We have to see. Can he do it? I'm not sure. He has a little weakness with his arms, and usually, but then again, look at Lee Haney. He had shitty arms, and he was an
Mhm.
8-time Mr. Olympia, so it can't be the arms. So that's what I'm saying. Let's see, wait and see. But I'm pretty sure he wants to win a couple classic physique Olympia titles first, and then maybe, yeah, everything is
Yeah,
possible.
I think 100% he wants to be Mr. Olympia in that division. And I think,
And
like just as an example, like Chris Bumstead has the double amount of followers that Big Ramy has. So I think uh, he's more popular. Like just as a many money, like just from a business standpoint, I think the classic physique is getting much more popular at the moment. And Chris Bumstead, for example, like that would be cool. I would say. I mean, he doesn't have to. It's not a class where he will not make an earning and a good living. This is what I'm telling you. Like, just money wise.
right, and you have to consider Chris Bumstead is not the best talker, right? It's not the best talker to represent as a Mr. Olympia, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Uh,
Hmm.
Big Ramy, on the other hand, I think he could be much bigger, but the problem is, I don't think he lost social media. He usually hides. He hardly posts anything. He doesn't like to be in public. That's my feeling. What I have about him, and he's kind of like hiding the whole year. So you can have a Mr. Olympia, what is hiding? I mean, if you're not out there, you're not gonna make money. Yes, of course, you have your sponsorship, and you win the day that you win the Mr. Olympia, a certain amount of money, blah blah blah. I know, but I think he could make much more money, Big Ramy. But he's a weird guy. somehow. Maybe it has to do with this religion. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Yeah.
You know.
And I think like you're, for the people that don't know, you're an expert in making money with bodybuilding, even as an amateur, right? And when the 80s, you had so many guest posing seminars every weekend,
No,
and
in the
you,
80s, I mean, the money was on the street. That's a whole different level. You will never have that again these days because bodybuilding was new. It was the new thing, you know. Everybody, it's like the same as the gyms. In the 80s, every gym had stopped the membership because it was too full. You know, like, oh no, we can't take anybody no more, you know. And all the people went where the best bodybuilders were in the gym because they were so special, you know, to see a bodybuilder. They'd never seen that before. So when the whole thing started, people wanted to see you, even in discotheques, on all kinds of, uh, I don't know, festivities, whatever. Everybody wants to see a bodybuilder posing. You know, it was very, very special. And at those times, yes, I made a lot of money after, but I had to win first the European Championship. Okay, you had to win a international title to make really good money. And yeah, at this time I made about 20,000 a month. Plus I had like 5 different sponsors. I was the first bodybuilder ever in the world to sign with Reebok. I
Mhm.
felt very special about that. And yeah, I had a Porsche Turbo for free, imagine, and all those things. So yeah, I made a good amount of money. And with that money I put on side and I opened the gym later on, yes.
Would you say that you could earn more money back then than now with social media and everything? What do you think?
Yes, I think so. When, yeah, back in the day, like I said, the money was on the street. It was laying on the street. Just pick it up, you know, constantly.
Crazy.
I mean, it was crazy. The offers you had, amazing. I mean, I know Ronald Matz. I don't know if he'd say something to you. Ronald Matz, my friend Ron,
Yeah.
he was Mr. Universe at the time. And I think he got 2,500 pours per seminar or guest posing or, and he was always on the road traveling making
Hmm.
shit with of money. No pro makes that amount of money today, you know. Of course, if you have something special and you're on social media and the people love it, yes, you can make a lot of money on social media for sure. That's a good thing. Imagine we would have had social media back in the
Yeah,
day. Oh my goodness. We
that
would
would be
all be
crazy.
millionaires at that time, at that point back in the day. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. Another question, like because we talked about Urs a little bit. I mean,
Uh-huh.
Urs is in the classic physique, and we also have a few other men's open German pro bodybuilders,
Hmm.
like Tim and Roman. Do you have any opinion about them, or no opinion? Like, what do you think about them, or
Okay. Okay. So Tim is a good average pro bodybuilder. He has not improved in the last 3 years. Why he didn't improve? You have to ask him. I don't know. Maybe it's his coach. Maybe he. It's he has to think about it. You know, he like, look, the last 3 years I have not improved. I need to make changes. So, in my opinion, he should cut the coach, get a new coach, overthink everything what he did in the last 3 years, make radical changes, and start all over. Then maybe Tim can get better. So I still believe in Tim. Okay. Roman, on the other hand, I don't know. I was shocked when he gave that interview after Tampa, I think it was, and he said all this ridiculous stuff, and he was talking like, okay, let's get over with this shit. Let's do the code so we can eat. And I mean, wow, I was like really in shock. If I would have been his sponsor, I would have canceled him right away that day. I mean, his sponsor paid for the whole travel and gives him money every month and whatnot, and he only talks shit about his sponsor. Then he hates bodybuilding on stage. That's what he says. The only thing he wants to do is training in his bunker or whatever, in his dungeon. No idea. Uh, he's a weird guy. He's a weird bodybuilder. I mean, how can, when, the moment you come off stage, the last thing in my mind is, oh, which gym is open and I need to train my legs. I'm like, what is that? Who talks like that? Who thinks like that? That is so weird to me. And he said he hates it so much being on stage. I mean, why are you a bodybuilder? Why are you a professional bodybuilder? You train all year, doesn't matter where, in a regular gym or in your dungeon or whatever, to improve. And then you go on stage to show how much you have improved, right? That's the whole concept of being a professional bodybuilder. No, he only wants to train. Well, good luck. Let's see if somebody pays you just for training, you know. I don't know. He's like a weird dude. And he's the kind of guy, he's like, we call him the world champion in the gym, because in the gym, he looks really good. I mean, I saw some videos and he was posing and flexing. And I was like, oh, wow, Roman looks really good. And then he comes on stage and he looks like an amateur. Like he completely disappears on stage. He looks small, skinny. I don't know. You have other bodybuilders, they're really small backstage and they go on stage. You're like, wow, what happened? You know, it's like, wow, bodybuilding is an illusion. We all know that. Bodybuilding is an illusion. So it doesn't matter how you look backstage or in the gym. It only matters how you look on stage. So, and he doesn't look good on stage. Sorry, that's my opinion, you know. Don't kill me for it, but that's what it is. That's my take on Roman.
Yeah, and it's, to be like, for the viewers, this is just constructive criticism. It's not hating, anything like that. So
No.
if a bodybuilder, my opinion is, if a bodybuilder competes, shows him publicly, he should handle some criticism. I think that a lot of bodybuilders, they can't handle criticism. They love you when you talk good about them, tell them how great they look. But if they don't look great, should I lie? I mean, or should I tell the honest truth? And sometimes they are really not very happy about that. This is also my, with other bodybuilders, not with him particularly.
But look, I don't understand it. I mean, today in the whole social media world, you live partially from social media. You live from your YouTube videos. You live from that everybody shows you out there, Instagram or whatever, wherever it is. And you have to understand, when you're a public person, there's not always good coming around. No, you don't always going to have good comments. You're going to have bad comments or real constructive criticism. Okay? And you have to understand what is real constructive criticism and what is a stupid, bad troll or however you want to call them. And you're going to see what is what. And if you have a constructive criticism from somebody, then I don't understand why you have to shoot back right away. Why do you have to say, no, and start a discussion or whatever? Why don't you go into yourself and think about it? Watch the video back, and maybe this person is right. Okay, maybe, yeah, I need to change this or that or whatever it might be. And that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. And you have to be open for that. And if you're not open for that, you will never get better because you don't know what you have to change in order to get better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So speaking about Roman and also Tim, what do you think? Like, you saw many German bodybuilders, including yourself, over the decades. Who do you think was the best German bodybuilder ever?
Well, the best German, we have to do it like this. That day on stage in 2002 at the Night of Champions, right? You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Mr. Ruhl.
Yeah. That was the best bodybuilder we ever had in Germany. That day, I never seen a better bodybuilder than Markus Ruhl that day on that stage. I think he was 132 kilograms. I don't know how much that is in pounds right now. And he was absolutely ripped, huge, freaking amazing. And he would have won the Mr. Olympia in 2001 and 2002 if he had brought this shape to the Mr. Olympia. But Markus never brought even something close to that to the Mr. Olympia. And that's why he was never Mr. Olympia. I don't know, at the Mr. Olympia, he always like was wishy-washy. Yes, I think one time you got fifth or whatever. Okay, that was the best bodybuilder we ever had. So, of course, the most successful is a whole different thing. You know, now you can discuss Günther Schlierkamp or Dennis Wolf, or you can go back to Juzo Wilkosz, even though he was not that good. I'm talking about success, okay? But I would say probably Dennis Wolf, because he won the Arnold Classic, so Günther never won. Yes, he won the show of strength in 2002 where he beat Ronnie, but that was not real because the judges were pissed off at Ronnie and they wanted to send him hello, wake up now, otherwise you're not going to win the Mr. Olympia next year. And you saw what happens after Ronnie lost. We got the best version of Ronnie Coleman ever in 2003 because he was angry. And that was good.
Yeah.
You know, but Günther actually did not really win that show. But anyway, they gave it to him because before that at the Mr. Olympia, there was this controversy where he came in fifth and some people said he should have won, which is completely nonsense, but he should have placed in third. I was there really up front. He was not that good at the prejudging. That what cost him the placings, you know, but he could have been third that day for sure. So yes, go back to your question. Markus Rühl, 2002 Night of Champions, best German bodybuilder ever from the whole, you know, shebang. Yes.
Interesting. I think Marcus will be happy about this. And what do you think? Like, you saw, like, also because you competed in the 80s, you saw a lot of people that are still followed by many, many people. The like Serge Nubret, like those classic athletes that are legends of the sports. And I heard about Serge Nubret, like that he trained abs every day, like 1 or 2 hours. This is what I read in a forum, in a bodybuilding forum. Is it true? Do you know something about that? Did you
I
meet
know a
him?
lot
Did
about
you get
Serge
to know him?
Nubret. Serge Nubret was my friend.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, he was. And it came like because in 1985, they started the FIBO, the biggest expo in the world in Germany. And all the bodybuilders came to Cologne. And I lived in Cologne. I was in a gym in Cologne. And the gym owner had a good connection. So what happened when the FIBO was over at 6 p.m., all the bodybuilders came to our gym. The gym owner would throw everybody else out. Hey, get the fuck out. Now the champs are coming. Everybody had to leave the gym. And we and all the superstars would train there. And of course, there was also Serge Nubret and Thierry Pastel, you know, and they came every year. So, and it was so cool. I was well known for my legs. They called me the German Tom Platz, which was an honor for me, of course. And Serge was always like, Ben, show me your legs, show me your legs. Because his legs was never that great. And he like, wow, your legs, cool, cool, cool. But of course, I saw how Serge Nubret trained with Thierry. And it was amazing. So they would then literally come 6 in the morning and do 1 hour abs. You know, you can say 1 hour abs. What do you mean? Yeah, 1 hour, no break. Okay? Upper abs, 1 hour. It was like with Thierry Pastel, they were right next to each other. And the best part was they were only talking. La 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 la. 1 hour. Like, oh. So, and then at 6 at night, when they came back from the FIBO, 1 hour abs again, but the lower abs, you know? Unbelievable. And of course, those two guys were talking the whole time. Like it would be nothing, like, you know, with the like, la 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 la. I'm like, wow. Serge Nubret was amazing. He was a kind of guy, he did like 40 sets per muscle group, but he never did cardio. He did everything with the workout, you know, and he was always in fantastic shape. Amazing. And his abs, he was the only bodybuilder in the world who could move his abs from the inside out. I don't know if you ever have seen that. Freaking amazing. In 1981, there was the Pro World Cup in Essen. And I went there with my training partner. And Serge Nubret on stage did like this. This is abs. Like, never seen that before in my life. Amazing. Now, but Serge was a nice guy. We were still in contact until his death in 2008. Like, a couple months before he died, we were having a phone conversation, but he was already in the hospital.
Mhm.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't believe like 2 hours every day abs. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it
And when he
seems
had
to
the
be
gym
true.
in France, they had like this abs time, 6 in the morning, 6 at night. The whole gym, 1 hour abs.
Phew,
Crazy.
crazy.
But his abs, also Thierry Pastel, his abs, pwah, brutal, brutal. The deepness, not that
Yeah.
thick, but deep, deep abs. Amazing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
once read about Thierry Pastel in a Flex magazine article, also from
Mm.
France and everything. Very interesting. Who was the most spectacular athlete that you met, like during the day, maybe competing or backstage or on stage or whatever? Like you lived in many different countries and traveled around. Who was the most of those golden era guys? Was it Serge or was it another guy? Was it who was it? Maybe a underrated guy that is not that popular.
You mean bodybuilder? I seen like backstage, on stage, in private, or what do you mean?
Anything, anything. You,
Anything.
you
Of
can
course,
you can tell like
when I saw Lee Haney, that was in, I saw him live in '85 when he won the Olympia. That was in Belgium. I got from my sponsor a card and was sitting in the third row or something. Uh, it was a shocker when he came on stage because he was so much bigger than all the other guys. Back in the day, it was, of course, you can't compare it with today, but Lee Haney was a monster. It was like, wow, he was from another star or something. And then, of course, Tom Platz's legs. Oh my God, if you have seen Tom Platz's legs in real, holy shit. Amazing, amazing. And who else? Actually, there was one guy, nobody knows that guy. His name was Slobodan Blagojevic. At the
never
European
heard.
Championship in 1980, I was competing as a junior. He was a junior too. I was the favorite to win it, and it was in Germany. And he came, and he had this old clothes on. He came. He was from Yugoslavia back in the days, Yugoslavia, and he was so small, but his face like the death. And when he took his clothes off and he started to pump, I never seen anything. They always say, "Oh, Andreas Münzer was so brutal." No, no, Slobodan Blagojevic. I never seen anything like this. He made his arm, and you could put your finger between biceps and triceps. He had a hole in there.
Cool.
I never seen somebody so ripped like this guy. That was brutal. I mean, wow. When he moved a little bit, you only saw like his whole body, all the muscle fibers were
Crazy.
like ants running. Oh, wow, never seen anything like that. That
I have
was,
to look. I have to look that up. Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
He competed later, also with me at the world champion in '84, but he was not that good anymore. He was like more smooth. He just was
Mm.
that one time, and of course he beat me. I came in second. But it
Mhm.
was okay. For me, it was like, and it was close. It was only 2 points. I'm like, you guys are crazy. They should have been 100 points because this guy was so much better than me. Oh my God. Yeah.
Crazy.
After the prejudging, they said, oh, you might win. I said, when I win, I'm walking off the stage. I will be ashamed because this guy was so much better. Yeah.
Interesting. I have to look him up. Yeah, I also thought like Andreas Münzer and Hamdullah Aykutlu.
Oh, yeah. He
I
was
heard about
brutal
him and
too. Yeah.
also
He was
very.
yes, like this guy, but a tad harder. Like,
That's crazy.
never seen something like that. Never, ever.
Would
Wow.
you would you say that because you saw Lee Haney, you saw all those guys in great shape, great conditioning,
Yeah.
and what I see today is even Big Ramy, they are huge, but they don't have that condition, in my opinion, anymore.
Yes.
Would you say it's the athletes in the men's open, they got too big and now they sacrifice condition for it? What's your opinion as an old school bodybuilder? Like, is it too big now, or what do you say? What's the solution, or what's the
The
current
solution is
situation?
easy. The solution is easy. It's insulin. That's a solution. It's very easy. But if they all take insulin, of course you have to take insulin too. The problem is, yes, in the '90s and early 2000s, there were insulin as well, but what they did back in the day, first of all, they didn't use that much. Okay, very important. Second of all, they would stop taking insulin 2 weeks before the show to get it water out, because insulin really holds the water. And today they don't do that anymore. They have high dosages of insulin and they go all the way to the competition. They don't stop with the insulin. Okay, and what you get this water balloon look. You hardly see any striations in the shoulders, in the chest. It's all gone. It's all kind of like watery. It looks like the skin is thicker, and all these things. You know, that's the whole thing, you know. And of course, HGH over time also thickens your skin, you know. And back in the day, it was different. That's very simple. That's what it is. But of course, when everybody takes insulin, you have to take insulin too. Today, I have the feeling in the open, to be really hard is not that important anymore. It's more like, first you have to be really big. You know, if you're really big and somewhat hard, you will always beat somebody who's a little bit smaller but really hard. And it's a shame. For me, it's a shame. You know, so I think it should be the other way around. But yeah. It is what it is.
This is true. Like, it's very sad actually. But so you say it's not the nutrition, it's nothing like that. It's not the training, it's not the nutrition, it's the super supplements. Yeah.
Yes.
And would you say, like, just talking about others, like not about super supplements, talking about nutrition? Do you know, like, Rick Drasin? He had a big YouTube channel, also from the golden era of bodybuilding.
Yes.
Rick Drasin, he is dead, unfortunately now. Rest in peace.
I know.
But he was always talking.
Yes.
Yeah. He always talked about the nutrition of Arnold and the 80s bodybuilders. How was it, like, the nutrition in the off season and compared to the on season, compared to the contest diet? Was it high fat? Like, he always told high fat, high protein, and low carbs. Or was it, or what did the people do, or you did? Was it the opposite, or?
Honestly, in the 80s, what I know for sure, in the off season, you would just eat anything, you know, just a lot in anything. Not necessarily now McDonald's or whatever, but you would not really pay attention as much as they pay attention today. They pay attention, say, okay, in every meal we have to have some rice, we have to have some chicken breast, or we have to have some steak, and then whatever else we put on top of that. And back in the day, it was not like that, you know. Everybody would just eat a lot and also a lot of shit. So we didn't know any better. I mean, the nutrition part in the 80s, nobody had really figured that out at that point, you know. Like the diet, yes, but not the off season. Yeah.
How was the pre-contest diet? Was it high fat or low fat or high carb, low carb? How was it like?
It was more like high on the carbs and very low on fat. That's what I remember. Okay. Yes, back in the day. Today is also different.
Also like that. Would you say?
It's a little different. Yeah, a little lower carbs today. Yes.
Interesting.
A little bit more fat.
And is it true, like people say, the golden era bodybuilder, like nowadays the pros, a lot of them they work out each muscle group once a week? That has been a huge discussion, like in the media scene. And back then, even Arnold's bodybuilding split, it was twice a week, all the body groups.
Dude, Arnold trained 3 times a week, all the body.
Even 3 times? Oh,
yes.
That's Arnold even more crazy.
3 times. Crazy. 6 times a week he trained. Yes, I know that for sure. 2 times was normal. Yes. You know, that you had 2 muscle groups a day. You would train 1 muscle group in the morning and 1 in the late afternoon. You know, that
did you do the same? Also 2 times a week?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come back to the gym. I just stayed in the gym. It was like, okay, I train at 10 in the morning, 1 muscle group, and then I hang out in the gym, I eat, I talk, and then maybe at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I do the other muscle group. Yes, that's what we did twice a week, definitely. Yeah, it was normal. I think what it does, it doesn't necessarily give you more mass, but it gives you more definition, more maturity to your muscle if you train more often. Yes.
Yeah, people say that nowadays, a lot of people say natural people should train their body parts twice a week, and the people, they shouldn't do like once a week. That's not enough. But that's what people say because of protein biosynthesis and whatever. The natural people, what I see and hear is they more do the old school stuff like twice a week compared to just once a week, only one muscle group a day, for example.
Look, what you have to understand in bodybuilding, genetic is a big thing. You know, genetics decides how far you will go. That's first and foremost. Second, we all different. Okay, we all have different bodies, different metabolism, different genetics, and so forth and so on. You have to find out what is the best system for you. You cannot generalize and say, okay, you have to, when you're natural, you train this, and when you're on juice, you train it. You can't, because we're all different. You know, Ronnie Coleman, for example, he was the biggest badass bodybuilder on earth, and he trained everything twice a week. So Jay Cutler, the same, most of the time. I mean, I saw him training. We trained in the same gym in Las Vegas for a while, for years, actually. And so you tell me, I don't know. I think it's individual. It's different. Everybody has to figure it out for themselves. There is no cookie cutter. Oh, when you this, you got to train that. And that. No, you have to find out for yourself, how does your body respond the best way to your workout, what workout you should do, you know? Don't just let anybody tell you, oh, you this body type, you need to train like that. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Figure it out yourself. Try it.
So you can't generalize. It's very individual. Yeah.
Yes,
that's
so.
The message. Yeah.
Yes.
And talking about the bodybuilders nowadays and back in the day, what I see is back in the day, for example, when Lee Haney retired after winning 8 times Mr. Olympia, he was still young. And nowadays, for example, I don't know if you heard about the new star, Andrew Jack.
Yes, of
and
course.
People tell him like he has a big future, whatever. He's the new guy, and you know how old he is? He's like 37 or 38.
37, yes.
So what thing is the reason? Do you think because they are so big, it takes them so many years to get to that level, or what do you think?
No.
What's
I think
the problem?
It has completely changed. In my time, they were like, on every competition, you had like 30, 40 juniors in your class. And we had 2 junior classes. Look at today. You hardly have a junior anymore. They had to increase the age of juniors to 23. At my time, the junior class was 20 and then was over. You're no more junior. You're a man now. So they had to increase to 23 now. And there's still not that many people in junior classes. So what's up with that? I don't know. The young people are just not that interested anymore. That's really funny. You can see that's why all the classes, even over 50 today, sometimes the biggest classes, because they're all from the young generation came up, all the juniors, and they're still doing it. And then all over 50. I don't know, because back in the day, like you said, Lee Haney was very young. Rich Gaspari was very young. Lee Labrada was very young. All these guys were really, really young. They came up. Sean Ray, super young. I think he was 21 at his first Mr. Olympia, and looked fantastic already. So I don't think, I'm not sure. But yes, today they're all older. And today they always say, oh, you peak in your late 30s until your mid 40s in the open class, you know? And that's the way it is now. Everything has changed. Back in the day, yeah, Lee Haney retired with 31. Imagine. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, crazy. And yeah, totally has shifted. Back in the day, everybody was young. It was really strange. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's a huge gap if you compare back then and now. It's very crazy. And talking about that, when do you think, like you saw many eras and whatever? When do you think you got the most appreciation from the public or from the people as being a bodybuilder?
Mid to end of 80s, definitely.
Okay.
You know, people were absolutely crazy. I had my own female fan club, and they would call me constantly. They were like singles, they were engaged, they were married, they were whatever. And they didn't give a shit. They just want to have sex with me. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. I would do like this, and they would do whatever I say. I would say, hey, make out, you two girls. Oh, you want to have sex? No, you two girls make out first, and I'm going to watch. And they would do anything. It was insane. Like, you can't imagine. When I say that, yeah, the band is crazy. No, really, it was like that. You had groupies. The bodybuilders don't have groupies anymore. We had groupies. They're insane. Oh, I just want to have sex with you. I do whatever you say.
Crazy.
Crazy. Yes, like mid to end 80s was the absolutely high. And then we got on TV. I don't know if you know that in Eurosport, the end of the 80s it started, they would show all kinds of competition on Eurosport.
I remember, yeah.
Yes. There was the high of bodybuilding. And then somehow it went downhill. No idea why, what happened. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if it ever will get that popular, because now it's out of control. Like, they're so big, nobody can identify himself with a big Rami.
No, and that's why we have all these new classes, because we were looking for, okay, we have to search for alternatives because nobody wants to look like that anymore. But don't get me wrong, the reason why people go to the Mr. Olympia is only the open class. They want to see the freaks. They want to see the freak show. You tell me, you don't go to Mr. Olympia to see a bikini or a figure or whatever. Come on. Yes, when your wife or your family member or your best friend is competing, sure. But that's not a reason to go to Mr. Olympia. You know, you want to see the freaks, you know, definitely. You don't want to see the men's physique, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, and these guys, don't get me wrong, these guys train hard now. Now it has changed. They have phenomenal upper bodies. They train hard now. And a lot of these guys train their legs too. Don't get me wrong. They look fantastic. But nobody goes to see these guys, you know, there, except what I just said, those people.
Yeah, it's a freak show.
Yeah, that's what the people want to see, the freaks. That's what it is.
Yeah. And now we talked about which era was the most popular, and you also, for people that don't know, you lived in different countries like Germany, United States. Now you're in Mexico. What's the country where you got the most appreciation? Like, where was it? Was it the United States, or was it more Mexico, or even Germany?
The country that appreciates bodybuilding the most is definitely the United States. There's no question about that.
Okay.
Yes, we had the high when I was living in Germany in the mid 80s, when everybody was crazy about bodybuilding. In 2001, I went over to the US. I came quick back, but I was there in 2002 for 11 years. And you get the most appreciation you can't even imagine, especially when you're in good shape. I was in good shape, and I'm certainly not the best bodybuilder, but I was really ripped. I was always in really great shape at that time. I was competing all the time. And every day, trust me, in Gold Gym, the best gym in the world, every day people come to you and say, oh man, Ben, you look so awesome. You look so fantastic. Or, I mean, Ralph Möller tells you something, right? I mean, you can all of it. He was crazy about me. He was insane. Every day I came in, Ben, show me your abs. Show me your abs. Please show me your abs. And I had to show my abs. And he's like, oh, amazing. And it didn't even matter if you were 50 yards in the back of Gold's Gym. As soon as he saw me, Ben, show me your abs. But people really appreciative there in the US. I mean, even when you walk down the street or whatever, especially black girls are totally crazy about muscular guys. Oh my God, it's like sometimes let's say you take off your shirt and you walk Venice Beach, all the black girls are like, you just say, okay, come, let's go. Like, if you're into that, I'm just saying, you know. But really, in the US, bodybuilding is really appreciated still, you know.
Crazy.
And you never get looked down at, you know, like in Germany, you know, always, you know. I remember even in the 80s, And I would wear shorts, and like I said, I had pretty big,
Great
good legs.
legs. Yeah.
And I was walking in the supermarket, and people would walk after me. They would walk after me to come in front of me to do this, just to show me how much they didn't agree that I looked like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
happen in the US. Everybody would say, "Wow, man, you look great," or "Boy, your legs are awesome," or whatever. You know, only positive vibes you get over there. So, yes, totally different. It's really nice.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, this is what people tell, that in the States it's much more popular. Even if they don't know you as a person, they still respect how you look like and the dedication,
Yes,
the work. And
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, because we talked about Arnold a little bit, and other people. Back then, did they drink any alcohol? Was it a thing? Was it like, did people party as bodybuilders, being bodybuilders, or was it very strict?
Oh no, they did party, and yes, they drink a little bit of alcohol, but usually not like get drunk or something. You know, not like
Hmm.
crazy, not like some party scene like Chris Cormier times, where he even 6 weeks before the Olympia would still like take recreational drugs and get drunk and do all this crazy shit,
Hmm.
and still plays like third place at Mr. Olympia or something. It's
Yeah.
like one of these guys. But no, at Arnold's time, no. Yeah, there was some beer and some this and like that. I actually have a friend. Her name is Heidi, and
Hmm.
she was Arnold's girlfriend when he came over
Oh,
in the early 70s. She
crazy.
was with him for years. They were on and off, you know.
Uh-huh.
They had an on and off relationship. And yes, she told me stories. Oh my God, from Arnold, you wouldn't believe, you know. I'm like, wow.
Do
She's
you have
also
a fun?
some of
Yeah.
his books. I don't know, you know this famous picture when he's hanging upside down with Franco on Venice Beach on this, and he makes a lat spread
Yeah, I think so.
upside down, Franco.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know this
She's
for
the
sure.
blonde girl, but turns her head. You can see her face.
Okay,
And,
I
and
will
there
check that.
is
Yeah.
and there is another picture in his book where he has a girl on Venice Beach on his shoulders
Yeah, I also know that. Yeah.
and without a top. Remember the picture? That's her. That's Heidi.
Crazy.
And she's a good friend of mine. And
That's cool.
yeah.
Can you tell any funny Arnold story because you heard, or is it like too private?
Uh, no, yeah, funny. Maybe they're not that funny, and I really don't want to
Okay.
talk about it because
Okay,
that's
okay, okay. It's
not
not a
something.
problem. I understand you.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you meet like Franco Columbo and those guys?
No, I never met Franco. I smoked a cigar with Arnold after I won the world championship in bodybuilding in 2001 in
Hmm.
Shatsi's, you know,
Hmm.
when he had his cigar night at the Hollywood Smoke. I don't know if
Hmm.
you're familiar with that. He came once a month. The first Monday every month, there was cigar night with Arnold. It cost
Hmm.
like $200, 220, something like that. I don't remember really. My friend, really good friend, Greg, who's the owner of Hollywood Smoke. I was hanging out there all the time. A lot of movie stars came all the time there, and they would tell some stories. It was a really nice place. Or still is, still there. And he's a good friend of Arnold. And then when Cigar Night came around, he gave me the tickets. You had to buy tickets. And then when we were at the Cigar Night, I was sitting like maybe like 10, 12 persons down the table. It was like a huge table from Arnold. And then Greg came up and said, "Hey, this guy won the world championship." And I was like, "Hey, come here, come here." And I was sitting probably for like 20 minutes with Arnold smoking a cigar. We had a nice conversation. Felt really good. Of course, Ralph Muller was there. He's always there. He's always in the shadow.
He
He's like,
remembered
oh
you.
my God. Ralph Muller is always where Arnold is, you know, like he's his shadow or something. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think he wanted to get as popular as Arnold, but never, I don't know, maybe not.
No, never happened. He got
Never happened, yeah.
some movie roles, some smaller ones. He got one in Scorpion King and Gladiator and something like that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he never really made it.
Yeah.
He's
And
on a lot of talk shows in Germany. That's all I know.
yeah, it's crazy. He still is known in Germany, but maybe not that known in the States. I don't know. This is
Oh,
maybe
he's known in the States, but for something else.
Okay. Okay. I don't I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, something else.
Okay, so you had, like we talked about, your career, your stations in the world, and what would you advise, let's say, a upcoming bodybuilder nowadays? What would you, if you could give him like one or two or three suggestions for his career or for his whatever, for being a bodybuilder? Would you, like, for example, a German bodybuilder, would you advise him to go to the United States, to move out, or do this and this? Because obviously you don't have the magazines anymore, you have the internet, it's different. So would you say it doesn't matter anymore, or what would you say? Like, what's your 2 cents?
It matters big time. You have no idea. Nothing to do with the magazine. You got to make connections because a lot of the judges always there, also in Gold's Gym or wherever, or in New York, um, wherever, in the Steve Weinberger's gym or Beth Francis is the same gym. Um, you have to go there. You have to show there. You have to train there. If you are an upcoming bodybuilder, not if you some nobody, but if you won like a world championship or you at least average pro, you need to go to the US. If you want to continue moving up the ladder, you have to go. You have to make the connections. You know, if
Hmm.
people don't see you all year and then you just fly to the States and try, it's
Hmm.
like, then you have to be a Urs Kalecinsky to do that, you know, when he won the Tampa Pro. And you have to be really, really special. Like Urs, he's very special, you know,
Yeah,
like the way he poses and his whole aura and his
yeah.
charisma and, you know, the sunny boy. You have to be that kind of guy. But if you're not, you have to go to the US. You have to train. Yes, it all has shifted a little bit. Doesn't need to be necessarily more Gold Gym, but now in Vegas, you have all these crazy good gyms, and in Phoenix, that's where all the music plays now. And you have to be there, go there, train there, make connections. You know, yes,
Hmm.
definitely. It's very, very important. Don't underestimate how important that is. And I think if Marcus Rule or
Hmm.
Ronnie Rockel or these guys would have gone to America, we might have a different conversation today, you know?
Yeah, I think like 2003, Marcus Arnold Classic, 2003. I think he got dropped. Like he got third place, but I think he could have won that. He was better than Jay Cutler, I would say, and he thinks that same. But whatever, like it's a subjective sport. You can't measure anything. Like it's not like soccer, football, whatever. So they will always have those political decisions, maybe.
Yes, and there's of course a lot of political decisions, that's for sure. You need
Yeah.
to if you miss the Olympia, they need to sell you somehow, you know. That's why Kai Green never won the Olympia, even though it was very
Yeah.
close sometimes with Phil Heath. Because if you fuck that grapefruit, you can't be Mr. Olympia. You know, that's just not possible, man. What are you doing? What were you thinking? I'm like, wow, that's insane. I'm like, wow, for what? I think that really cost him the title.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And with the internet, you can't, because with the internet, you will always have pictures, photos up. You can't delete this. It's not
nope,
possible. It's not like you can't tell it was just a made up story. But yeah,
exactly. No, no, that was
but
not. You can see that.
yeah.
No, crazy.
One crazy thing, because you did guest posings, and nowadays, if people guest pose, it's mostly on bodybuilding competitions. So they people compete, and then they have the guest poses. But back then, also, I saw like a Andreas Münzer documentary, and he was guest posing in a nightclub, and you did that also, right? Many times, like
All
in a
the time,
discotheque. Why
all the
did they? What was the thing about that? Why did in a nightclub? What had it to do with bodybuilding? Do you think they were just curious, or for the girls, or what do you think? What was the thing?
Not for the girls. They were just curious. It was the new best thing. The new best thing. Everybody wanted to see these bodybuilders, you know. And then somebody started somehow. We actually started in 1984 in Germany uh, because bodybuilding got so popular. They made a disco competition. What
Hmm.
they did like a disco German national competition, something like that, right? And they would do all these competitions all over Germany in all these discotheques, and the winner would go to the final, you know, and the final was in Cologne. At the winner, you would get $250 when you win your, you know, wherever it was to get to the final, the competition. I don't know what it was called, whatever, it's too long ago. And then for me, I was in preparation for the World Championship. So it fit right into there. I would never go into a disco competition because I'm like, no, I was too proud. You know, that's beneath me. Let's say it that way. No? I will never do that, you know, because I knew when you go to this competition, you only get bad remarks, you know. And of course, I remember standing there and the people like, look at him, disgusting, and especially many women, you know. But all the women was saying in front of you, oh, disgusting. They wanted to fuck you backstage or give you a blowjob.
Yeah.
Just no, that's for that. And yes, so I did this competition. I won the $250, and at the final they had like $2,500, or you could travel to Acapulco. And for me, it was perfect. So of course I competed and I won the whole thing, and I decided to take the $2,500. So but it was crazy. It was really full. All these disco people, even though there were a lot of negative stuff, everybody wants to see it.
Interested.
You know?
They were still interested. Yeah.
And from there on out, it's spreading all over Germany, and constantly I had a guest posing every weekend, at least in one discotheque. I had a manager at the time. At least one discotheque was always in there where I would pose. And the girls were so crazy. And you know what? I had my own poster. You know where I signed the most poster? In the freaking discotheque. Not at the expo. No. Yes, I signed a lot of posters on the expo. I'm telling you, my manager was running to the car and said, we need more posters. And in one night, I think I signed posters for 4 or 5 hours after I did my posing in a discotheque. Imagine.
It's unthinkable nowadays.
Only girls. And they're like, oh, please, can you write in love for, oh, can you write, oh, we had so much fun last night. Oh, this kind of bullshit. Like, yeah, whatever. Just pay. I do it, you know.
They're crazy.
It was crazy. And then, of course, you had 2, 3 girls. They were waiting until the end and like hoping you take them with you, you know,
back
in your
home,
hotel or whatever, you know. Like, but like I had one crazy story. So I was posing in this discotheque. I think it was in Austria. So I'm posing and I have my posing. I made always a really good show. You know, I want to, you know, offer the people something good. So when I'm doing my posing and the discotheque is full, I don't know, like a huge discotheque, 2,000 people or whatever. And I was finished. I was done, you know. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. And the people are like, no, more. We want to see more, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I do another performance. And I'm like, okay, I'm done now. No? And they're like, no, more, you know? I'm like, okay. Then I make another performance. I'm like, okay, now I was really finished. I was posing for 20 minutes. I was completely done. No? I was finished. I was exhausted, whatever. And I'm like, let me out. And the people would not let me out. They would not make a way for me so I could go out, you know? There's no way. They would block everything, you know? And I see my manager upstairs. And I'm like, help me. And he went to the DJ and said, let the band out. Get the fuck out of the way. It's over now. And then they finally let me out.
That's funny.
You know, like crazy. And yeah. Then also that evening I signed 4 hours. Like, wow, it was insane. Or many times I had also like girls coming up before I went on stage. And they came to my manager and say, oh, please, can we put oil on him? Please ask him, you know. Crazy. And then they sometimes I would say yes. And I was always just saying they would put oil on me. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so horny. Oh, it's so awesome. Oh, you're so sexy. Oh, like, yeah, shut up. You know? Yeah.
And it's imagine like it's so unthinkable. Imagine nowadays Big Ramy would guest pose at a nightclub. This wouldn't happen. Like this is it's so like it was a total different world. It seems like it wouldn't happen. Even like other
world.
Better, more funny probably. More you seem to have more fun. You had a smile on your faces. Yeah.
More innocent. you
Yeah.
know, and no phones.
Yeah. No phones, no social media.
Yes.
And yeah, and maybe one last story or question, whatever, to
Yeah.
wrap it up for the German fans.
Okay.
I saw your videos, and I heard like you knew also Franz Bach. Yeah, is it true?
Oh, yes.
And the German, the German fans will know him for Muskelspiele, the documentary.
Yes,
And
yes.
he was always very like it was so great to watch. It was much more funny than maybe people say than Pumping Iron, but it was really cool.
He was
And
crazy. Yeah.
he was really aggressive always. Like he
Oh,
was wanted to
always.
shut up the
Super,
camera. And how was he
super.
like? You knew him. Like how was he like that off camera, or was it
Yes,
just for the camera?
absolutely. He was very aggressive. Yes, he was like that. In 1986, I get a phone call, and he was living in Munich. I was living in Cologne, and I don't even know why Franz called me. We had no like connection, whatever. I get a phone call in the gym. Somebody is on your phone. I'm taking the phone. And I'm like, yeah, here's Franz Bach. I said, huh? Okay. He's like, I know we both prepare for the European Championship in Hamburg. It was in Germany, the European Championship that year. How about you come down here and we prepare together, because you have so great legs and maybe I can learn something. I'm like, okay, you know what? I was in between apartments anyway. I had 1 month where I didn't really know what to do because I got a new apartment and my old apartment expired. And I'm like, oh, that fits perfect. And I was in preparation. I'm like, you know what? I'm coming. So then I remember I took the train. To Munich. So Franz picked me up. And on the way to his house already, he was driving a Mercedes. He drove so fast, over the Autobahn, so fast. And you can't drive as fast as you want. So he drove so fast and like this close to the other car. Like he was driving like 200 kilometers. This close. Get the fuck out of the way, you asshole. Why are you blocking me? La, 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 la. And he's like honking the horn. Like, Franz, please calm down.
Calm down.
If he breaks, we hit him. I don't give a fuck. They gotta get out of the way. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, this was the beginning. Okay, good. So then we finally came into his house, and he's like, you know what, Ben? I have this new stuff. It's called Physique. It was like a kind of like an oil. And he's like, if you inject that in your muscle will grow. 1986. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, let's try, Yeah, inject it in your biceps. And we start injecting in the biceps, and I started injecting my biceps. And it really hurt, like, it was like it burned, it hurt. It was like you have a rock in your bicep. And then 1.5 days later, the biceps actually start to grow. You grow like centimeter up to 2 centimeters, but it would always hurt. It felt like you have always the mega pump in your biceps, and when you would work out your back or your biceps, it hurt so bad, it had a rock in your biceps, and then, but you had to inject every day, and the arm gets bigger and bigger. But then after 3 days, the arms start to look like shit. You lost all your definition. The oil that is clean start to leak out everywhere, So now you had like just one arm, but no separation between biceps and triceps. Was just one blob of arm, like, no, this shit is not for me, Yeah, okay. So then there was the I think it was called Starnberger See, that lake was down there in Munich. And it's like, come. I mean, it was summer, right? Let's go to the lake and check out some girls. And I'm like, sure. So we go to the lake, and there were some people we came by on like a restaurant, and some guys were making some fun because we were walking there, and Franz was like, in the Traeger shirt, and they were saying something, and he went right over to the table. What the fuck? What did you say? Huh? What do you want? Huh? I knock you out, you piece of shit. And he was super aggressive. Like, Franz, calm down, take it easy, calm down. And then with the medals, he had no game. He had no game. There was like a cute girl who's like, hey, you like muscles, huh? You want to have a muscle guy? Come over. Like, oh my God, Franz, shut the hell up. What are you doing? Oh, another girl. Hey, do you know how good muscle guys are in bed? man, you need to experience that. I'm like, Franz, oh my God, did you ever get a go? I can't imagine. And he goes like looking at him like, what? Who the fuck are you? Yeah. Oh my God. And then one day we came out of his house and, oh shit, how's it called in English? Gerichtsvollzieher? I don't know the word for it.
I don't know, it was something judge, no, law, whatever.
Somebody got sent by a judge to collect his stuff, his car, and all these things. And some guy was putting a seal. You know, back in the day, you did have an automatic opener. You had to use the key for the car. So somebody put a seal over his car, where he put in the key on his door. And he came out like, whoa, what the fuck, you know? And this guy like, yeah, because of so-and-so. What? Because of so-and-so. He kicked him in the ass, like, you know, get the fuck off my property, you know? Who the fuck are you? He takes the seal, he rips it off. Fuck you and your shit. Like, okay, fine. Take it easy. And yeah, like I said, he was always super aggressive. And then later, after 4 or 5 weeks, I'm like, you know what, fun? I go home, you know. It was like too much for me. The guy was too much, you know. So I went back home, and then I saw him again at the European Championship in Hamburg. And it's like, hey, Franz, how did it go? Everything good? Yeah, you know what? The last 3 weeks, I had to hide for the police. The police was after him or something. He had to sleep in his car, had to sleep in a hotel because he couldn't go home. There was a search warrant out for him. And like, yeah, I wanted to do the competition. I can't go to the police. Like, okay, Franz. I don't know. I think he beat somebody up, or I don't know.
So Franz was even more crazy than we would think of. So he was really this guy, like on camera, this guy, crazy.
Yeah, he was one of these guys when he shouldn't have taken steroids because they made him completely insane, you know. There are some people like that. Other people, it makes nothing, you know.
Yeah. But it's like the same with alcohol. Some people, when they drink alcohol, they get drunk, they get aggressive. Other people get chill and funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Andreas Münzer? I know I said last question, but I was thinking about Andreas Münzer.
No, I never met him. I saw him at the competition, but I never met him personally. I only met his dealer.
Okay.
He told me, Andreas takes this and that and this and that. I'm like, okay. Because I bought something from his dealer too. It was early 90s. Yeah. So,
is it true, like they had after his death, they had the Spiegel magazine, the article about his cycle, and it was huge amounts of steroid doses. Do you think it was true, or do you think it's just a media thing?
No, as much as I know, as far as I know, as far as I heard, it should have been true. According also to this guy who sold me his stuff. He took crazy amounts of steroids, like insane. You don't even know.
So the mega cycle is maybe true. Yeah, crazy.
Orals, lots of orals, you know.
Yeah.
Like 50 Winstrol a day and all this kind of insane and hollow tests and oh my God, like all the bad stuff. Yes. He was a ticking time bomb and he died with 31. I mean, that's insane.
He died, like, I remember I watched, I mean, I'm 26. So obviously when he was dying in 96, I was getting born. So the thing is, when I watched this RTL 2 documentary, do you remember that? It's still on Team Andro and some pages.
I saw it.
And the documentary, I remember this, like, and he was the guy was asking him, like, and Andreas said he takes everything that's allowed.
Yeah.
And then the reporter asked him also anabolic steroids, and he was like, yeah, anabolics are not allowed.
Exactly.
And then he just took some creatine pills from Reader. And then 1 year later, I think he died. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
And he made some fun about like cycle people because they asked him, is it true that steroids will shrink your testicles? And he was like, yeah, I'm more worried about bicycle people that are on this hard thing all the time.
Well, but steroids, let's shrink your testicles. That's a fact. but only 1/3 of it, and then that's it. They can't get any smaller, and
Hmm.
you can get it back to normal if you take some Clomid and some HCG. So it's not a big deal actually, and it's
Hmm.
not like you need two balls to have sex anyway. You know, like
Hmm.
whatever. So doesn't
No.
influence your sex life. Put it that way. Oh.
Yeah. And other than that, Andreas seemed to be a pretty chill guy, like a calm guy, the opposite of Franz, maybe. This is what I
Everybody
heard.
who knew him said he was a very, very nice guy. Even Ronnie Rockel, I had an interview with him, and he said that he was a very nice guy, very polite,
Hmm.
very
Polite.
down
Yeah,
to
that's the
earth.
word.
Yes, very nice guy.
Crazy. Okay, perfect. So I asked you all of my questions,
Okay.
and it's like over 1 hour now. I think it's a good time to wrap it off. So I thank
Okay.
you a lot for the interview. It was
Sure.
very easy and very fast. We did the appointments so fast, and I hope people will like it. You should give it a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Also follow Ben Huellen on YouTube. I will put the links in the description of your YouTube channel and your Instagram. And you told me before the show that you think about an English channel, right? So,
Yes, soon. Sometime this year. I don't want to say then and then, but it will be sometime this year. Yes, definitely.
so as soon as that comes up, people, you should follow him because he is very, very, very funny. I think even now you have English videos, right, on your channel. Is
Yes,
it
I
true?
have some, not that many. I started with English and German in the beginning, but then the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
German took off, so and I concentrate just on the German side of it. Yes, that's
But
right.
yeah, but the videos who are out that are, I'm sure they are also like the German videos, very funny and a lot of details and information that you won't hear maybe. And so thank you. Have a nice evening
You are
and
welcome.
bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.